Your top 10 meta pickups that you're going to want to have for Rarity 5. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that Cyframe Delta button so you guys don't miss out more content. I think this is one of the best reprints that Konami could have tossed into the equation here just to get into circulation, because Delta has always had a ridiculously stupid price point. And the fact that, you can finally get the Spell Negate, which, by the way, has turned into a multiple card version that you've been playing in the side deck, because it's been, what? 1 Gamma, 2, 3 Deltas, and a Driver in the side deck to have that maximized number. So I'm not surprised to finally see that, we're getting some good value out of this. So I'm actually kind of excited for this. Everybody having, Deltas available is a good thing, but also, Delta finally gets the much needed rarity upgrade that he's actually been deserving. So you get a W on this one, Konami. Disspator. Oh boy, this guy he was kind of playing hide and go seek there for a little while. We got the initial reprint for it, and we didn't really think too much about it, but as time has kind of gone on, more decks have kind of wanted to play Disspator, and especially like the casual players that are like, oh, I didn't really get to play this during its last run through, and I don't really blame you guys, because, Disspator is one of those cards you're like, if I want to play like a Turbo Synchro Dragon deck, for example, this is going to be something you're going to want to have. There's also instances of, wanting to have access to this so that you can play it with, like, Crimson Dragon, for example, because, if you got a level 10 on the field, this is something you can bounce off of to be able to, make. So there is something to be had with that. So, yes, Disspator is a very, very, very good reprint, and I think a lot of people are going to be very happy to finally get their hands on this little guy. And then we have Chaos Angel. Talk about probably one of the most generically powerful cards in modern era times, because Chaos Angel, he's always been one of those cards you look at and you're like, this card is incredibly powerful for what it is. But now, players are going to look at this and they're going to go, oh, okay, well, I can finally afford this. There's also the thing, it's like, as long as you have a tuner and, the appropriate setup, you can technically cheat this card out, which has made Chaos Angel, he's a Link 2 with level requirements, as we joke about. And also, to the people that have been playing on the regional circuit lately, I've heard a lot of people complaining about a Light and Dark Chaos Angel. So this is probably a very welcoming change to the course of the game, just so you can kind of get this into the pool, just so you can kind of enjoy it. So about time, Konami. You get another W on this one. C104. So this is funny, actually, to me. So C104 finally gets a reprint and finally is going to be more affordable to the overall player base, which is great. But at the same time, how many of these versions of the K9 decks have already been cutting the rank up tools from the deck? This is kind of like my disappointment at this discussion. It's like, oh, this is really cool. We're finally going to be getting some good reprints for this. And it's just like, oh, man. At the same time, it's like, we kind of cut it already. So, it's also a good 7 Tachyon Bridgeway if you're looking to play level 5s. But I don't know. It feels a little too late, in my opinion, but I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt on this one. At least we're getting it. Riverstormer, Platinum Gadget, and Clockwork Knight. All three of these together equal the Crestron experience. So if you're somebody that was like, I kind of wanted to play Crestrons, but Clockwork Knight was a little bit expensive, Riverstormer was very, very expensive, and Platinum Gadget's just been kind of going up for a little while. Clockwork Knight is like Cyber Dragon reprint level 2, but you can worry about that later. Finally, though, everything within the Crestron deck is slightly more affordable and has actually calmed down to a pretty decent price point with these reprints. So I think this is good. But Clockwork Knight, I think, is the best of these three. Because a lot of other decks, and like I said, I mentioned Cyber Dragons. You gotta remember, we got Overframes coming here. You know, you're going to have people that are going to be trying some pretty interesting stuff with those cards here in the near future. I do very much look forward to seeing how players are going to try to interact on that front with that. And then we have Snake Eyes Doom Dragon. I know this one was kind of like my... I thought about this and I was like, we got to talk about the Crystal Beast players, man. Like, they deserve a tie-in too. Doom Dragon's always going to be that card that you're going to kind of read and you're going to be like, oh, this seems like a pretty interactable card. You know, you're able to bridge any of your continuous spells and traps into the stupid thing. Hey, this is where your Crystal Beast come into play. You know, it's a mini engine that you could technically use in Crystal Beast to be able to cheat out some extra little bodies and be able to use. And it was definitely not a terrible thing. Also, you know, other decks can use it besides Crystal Beast. Crystal Beast just needs to get some love too in terms of, you know, functionality and so forth. So I wanted to mention this because Doom Dragon, he's been a pretty degenerate combo enabler in some of these decks. A lot more than you would initially think he should be, honestly, because it's kind of crazy to think about what this little guy can do. And then, of course, the Kashtira reprints. Oh my god, man. I feel like I'm never going to have to listen to somebody complain about the price of Kashtira, Fenrir, or Unicorn ever again. And you know what? It's about time, honestly, because both of these cards needed some sort of push into the game because, well, Unicorn I don't think is seeing much play right now. I do know that we've seen Fenrir has been seeing a little bit of play with Draco Tail because, you know, you're able to beam him on out and then you can kind of combo on up with the Arthalion after you've gotten a key search and then, you know, you can use the extra dump to turn into another potential card. Yeah, it is relevant for today's meta. But, like, if you do want to play, like, mid-range control things, you know, like, he's a card that you're going to need to have. And then Radiant Typhoon Vision. This was so needed. First of all, Konami, yeah, you could have printed this as super rare the first time through. And I don't think anybody would have been, you know, necessarily, like, too upset with you. We're just, you had to wait till Rarity to pump out probably one of the best draw cards that you could have. And I am kind of worried about this card, like, long term. Like, how much is the Starlight Rare going to be? Are we going to be competing on, you know, on the crazy level that, you know, Upstart Goblin's at now? Because Radiant Typhoon Vision is an insanely good card, man. So many people want to have access to these, and I guess now you know you'll be able to have your rarity of choice with Vision. So I guess there is some sort of good that actually does come with this, but that's going to be a pretty good one. And then we welcome the Dominuses. So Songs of the Domi Mommies, Dominus Purge, and Impulse both have been getting their big reprint arenas in this set. I mean, you will have Impulse coming as an extended art later on down the block, but I mean, that'll wait a little bit. Right now, the Dominuses, they do have some key play within decks. They have done a lot of very, very, very good things within the course of the game. So I'm not exactly, you know, like, necessarily crazy about seeing the Dominuses come into reprints, but they needed it. I say that because, like, Blue Eyes is, like, the main one I want to play Purge in. You know, Impulse is going to go Malice. Impulse is just by far the most broken one. So you will be getting Impulsed 200% more now. Hey, Konami, if there's ever been a time to want to limit Impulse to 2 like the OCG, I guess it's now. And then we got to mention Trap Dashu. You know, while it is still banned, now that it's gotten errata and it's actually just got reprinted, we might actually see this card come back. Well, it's not exactly the craziest thing to think about. Trap Dashu being a thrust target to really disrupt your opponent is now a reality that we could be facing. I know we're kind of reaching up to the top here to maybe, you know, see if this is going to come true, but you know, anything is highly possible at this point when it comes to, you know, these style of reprints. So we'll have to wait and see. But I'd keep an eye on these for future meta. So please, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back in the day, guys. Patrons! Thank you! Ah!
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.